I
Oh,
want to
so
talk
funny.
about the Big East. It's Big East Media Day. Some of our Field of 68 colleagues are out there. I believe Douster Goodman. I think Borzello's there. I don't know who else there. I haven't watched too much of it this morning, but I hope they're having a great day at Big East Media Day. More importantly to me, what is the Big East doing? I'm very confused by this, and I'd love you to explain this to me. Tyler Kolek was the preseason Big East Player of the Year. At the same time that is true, there's an all Big East preseason first team that does not include Tyler Kolek, but includes Justin Moore, Trey Alexander, Bryce Hopkins, Joel Soriano, and Ryan Kalkbrenner. I'd assume if you're listening to this, you're probably doing the same thing I did mentally, which is like, okay, that's weird. The player of the year is not on the first team. But more importantly to me, where's Donovan Clingan? Like, I think Donovan Clingan's a top 5 player in the country, let alone in the Big East. So, do I have to like reevaluate everything the Big East is in my eyes right now? What is happening on this media day?
Yeah, that honestly, before we got, because obviously we do our little pre talk through before we record these things. I was coming with this like there was no clinging on the team. That was my first thought, and then I started to really look. I'm like, oh shit, Tyler Kolek's not on this list as well. And this is not me putting Joel Soriano down because actually he's very productive. He's very good. But I don't know. I'm a firm believer that top 10 NBA draft picks should be able to make first team in their own conference preseason. That's just typically how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, there just isn't a world where anyone in the Big East or in the country would take Soriano over Clingan this year at
Yeah.
any point.
If we're
It's absurd.
if we're doing also all conference teams, if like we're matching up these teams, the Big East is putting themselves at a huge disadvantage. Is this team that great?
Well, that's it. I don't want to be too harsh on Soriano because the same thing applies for Hopkins, who I think
I
is
mean,
also a
I
very good
shit,
player.
I'm looking at other guys like Justin Morris, first team All Big East.
Oh yeah, like is it 2021? Because I would buy Justin Moore as a preseason All Big East guy then, not right now after what we saw last season. I don't get it. I know like preseason award stuff is flimsy, so I don't want to be overly critical of it, but like to me, pretty stupid to just not include your player of the year, number one. And two, who do people think Donovan Clingan is? Like that's one of the baddest men in the sport. Like unequivocally, like it very clearly, and betting lines know this. If you want to bet National Player of the Year, you're getting Donovan Clingan at like very close runner up to Zach Edey odds, but apparently no one cares. I feel like in general, from everything I've seen from the Big East stuff right now, they're being really harsh on the defending champs card. Like they got picked third in this conference preseason behind Marquette and behind Creighton by a lot. Like there's separation. It's Marquette and Creighton, and then it's a drop, and then it's UConn. And that doesn't sit well with me. Clingan's the only guy who made the first 2 teams, I believe, here. There's like a bunch of Marquette guys involved on the second team and the player of the year. There's 2 Creighton guys on the first team. UConn has a lot coming back here. Like it's Clingan, but it's not just Clingan. Like Tristan Newton is
No.
back. Caravan's really good. Cam Spencer was a huge ad. The freshman class is dope. I just think we gotta crown the champs, man. We shouldn't rip that off their head so fast.
Yeah, and as leader and advocate of Tyler Kolek isn't who you think he is, even I have an issue with him not being all first team All Big East. That's just, how's that happen? Don't they have to? I feel like this is the type of first team that has to come out with a statement from the conference saying they made a mistake. There had to be a miscount,
I mean, it
right?
has with Kolek, it has to be intentional. It's like if you're the player of the year, you're not on the first team. Maybe they want to honor more players across the conference. That's fine. But Clingan does not make sense to me. He should be on the team very clearly
Over Soriano.
over shit everyone. Like, can we just straight up gun to your head? Which player from the Big East do you want on your team to start a team win this season?
I love Kolk, I do, but it'd be
Can you
Clingan.
can you look me in the eyes and tell me that Kalk's going to have a better year than Donovan Clingan?
Yeah,
I don't think you can.
I didn't, and that's just what I just did.
It is, but I think you're lying. And I think like you don't feel good. You just said that out loud, and I can tell you don't feel good about it. You're trying to do the R Creighton thing.
I'm okay. If Kalk doesn't get mono last year, his stats are crazy.
Okay. I mean, you can get mono again.
Clingan hasn't had mono.
Okay. All right. All right. I think Klingan's the best player in this conference. I don't think it's close. I think that's a
Really?
massive
You think
miss.
best player in the conference?
And it's not close. Yeah.
Okay. I think there's a real world where he's the second. Clingan's not even the best player on UConn.
I mean, from everything that I saw at the Final Four and through my TV before this, I think Donovan Clingan was their best player last year. He just didn't
Oh wow.
play. Like, anytime this kid was on the floor, it was like, oh my God, I can only see Zach Edey do these things. Like, that's it. Like, I think he's that good, and I think they just didn't play him and reserved him. But I get it's an obvious breakout, but um, yeah, there's definitely not another player, Kalk included, Trey Alexander included. We love Creighton, Kolek included. I would build around Donovan Clingan, and it wouldn't be close. I think he's going to be a monster.
Okay. Yeah. I hate that you can tell when I'm lying and I don't feel confident about things because I definitely did not feel confident about that saying Culprit and Clingan. But last thing, I'm sorry that AJ Hogarth's firstborn, Tyler Kolek, was not on first team All Big East. Hopefully that creates another chip on the young Rhode Island kid who wants to prove everybody wrong and who George Mason threw to the side.
We're not going to Rhode Island shame. That's not what we do here on this podcast.